My Hero Academia, Chapter 236, Shimura Tenko, Origins Part 2. It's pretty straightforward. The entirety of the chapter is just the rest of this flashback. And yeah, it's super brutal, it's harsh, it's tragic. I understand what Horikoshi's doing here. Trust me, I get it. I'm not against it. I like giving depth to as many characters as possible, especially the villains, and especially the overall main villain. This is great. It's really unique, actually, what he is doing here. But I'm just confused as to how the rest of the fandom is going to receive this. So I'm not talking about you guys, of course, listening to this or watching this video. I already know how you guys feel. We, have a close relationship with the series at this point, I'll say. More so than the majority, the consensus that makes up, like, most of the casuals, I'll say. Like, I'm more so talking about the people that are going to be viewing this once it reaches the anime in like 2 to 3 years, and more so like the Western audience. I don't know how the Japanese audience or just the Asian audience in general is receiving this, because this is just such like a complete 180 of the typical narrative and tone of the series. So of course I know that this has touched on dark elements in the past, Shoto's backstory, which we see glimpses of, and Eri as well, we see glimpses of that too, but nothing has ever really been thrown in our face like this before, especially for like 3 chapters. It's pretty intense, and like I said, like the fans, the majority, it's not us. We are kind of like the minority in a way. Like the majority of the fans are the people that watch the anime. The manga readers, maybe like 30%, 40% if I'm just taking a guess. And I'm saying like the ones that view the anime, those kind of fans who have come to know the series that way, it's like, like what are they going to think when they see this? Is it going to turn them off? Is it going to be like a dark point in the series? And not just so much as the tone, but like kind of like, this is the part where people just don't want to watch it, or the people just like feel like, oh, you should probably skip this. Am I reading too much into it? I don't know. This just seems really harsh, considering the audience that I feel that this anime has attracted. I don't know. Or maybe they'll just alter this once it gets to the anime. Or, maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But let's get into the chapter. So, yeah, it's picking up where the previous left off. And, yeah, this quirk is manifested as we guessed. And he kills Mon, his dog, and his sister Hana discovers it, and she's freaked out by it, of course, and he grabs her in like just a reflex to stop her from yelling, and he can't speak. Like, man, I kind of like vicariously am feeling this through him, like that moment, like when you're just so like in shock, like the voice isn't just coming out. It's like such a visceral feeling, and of course he's killing her from just touching her because of his damn quirk, and we're actually like seeing it happen. It's pretty brutal just seeing this little girl getting decayed, and like the reactions that he's getting from it, and him vomiting after from this all happening, and then his parents coming out and seeing it. Also, one thing I just want to touch on is that we're seeing that when he is touching the ground, the decay quirk is spreading, and it is hitting his grandparents. So I think this is lining up with what I was talking about in my previous reviews about how Tomura's quirk isn't like evolving or ascending to another level as some people thought that it was. I assume that he could always do this. Like, this is always how the quirk worked. It's just that I guess it took for him to unzip himself, unlock his memories, for him to further use the quirk to this degree. So it's not like he's going Super Saiyan with the quirk or something. Like, he could always do this. And this is how I also see Twice's quirk along with Toga's quirk. I think that's more or less like the recurring theme of quirks for the League of Villains in this chapter. It's not so much as them getting power-ups, but just getting better understanding, or just fully showing the potential of their quirks. But yeah, the next panel with his mom like just coming apart as she's trying to embrace him is pretty tough also, just seeing how like she actually does ultimately care about him, more so than pretty much anyone in the family, I suppose, because she's like trying to actively go and console him despite all of the carnage that she's seeing and all of the destruction and everything. It's just, you know, that inherent motherly love. And then, of course, after that, the dad discovers it, Yoshikage Kira himself, and as expected, the dad was going to have some kind of violent reaction to this. He seemed kind of remorseful, you know, in the previous chapter, before all this happened. He was going to try to reconcile with Tomura, but, you know, then this happens, and then we see him grab what looks to be like a branch trimmer or something like that, you know, for like the trees, I guess, in his backyard, or a hedge trimmer or something. And he whacks Tomura with it, and this just sets Tomura off. And he just straight up goes after his dad. Like, before this, it was all intentional what he was doing, you know, taking out his family. But this is just straight up murderous intent. And I guess it was triggered by, of course, getting hit by his dad. And he's just like, you know what, Dad? I'm taking you out. And he does. And then we get the narration that, you know, he wanted to do this, and that it was an unrelenting wave of pleasure crashed over him. And we see this sick, sadistic face on him as he's taking his dad out, along with just collapsing the entire house that he built. So I guess that's just finishing it off everything. Like, Tomura's taking out the entire family along with the legacy that his father has built. And then he says, I no longer felt that burning itch. So I guess this is confirming more or less what I was talking about in the previous chapter, that his father is the reason for those unknown allergies that he has. Like, his father was manifesting those through the stress that he put on Tomura. Although we do see him scratching his eyes, you know, in the beginning of the series, even currently, you know, before all of this happened. So either that was like a residual effect of it, but I guess this more or less is saying that it was his dad making him itch like that, because it said that it only happens when he's at home and, you know, when his dad's around and stuff. So it was the stress from his dad, I'm guessing. But also he says before this, perhaps hidden somewhere deep in my heart, I'd always been hoping for something like this. This could be meaning that Tomura was always inherently a psychopath, or it's more or less meaning that the abuse that he received from his father is the result of him becoming one, because that is like a recurring thing in psychopaths in real life. Like, they have, not all of them, of course, but a lot of them have in common child abuse. And that's not, of course, always the main factor in it, but it's one of them for sure. And that could be the case with Tomura here. And yeah, that's where the chapter ends, and we just see him in this like crazy, psychotic, blissful state almost, as, you know, he's in the wake of all of the destruction and chaos that he's caused. But one more thing before I wrap this up. I just wanted to touch on the quirk manifestation here, which I was talking about in the previous chapter. So that guy that came and dropped off Tomura, we assume that that's likely All for One. Maybe not, but most likely it is. And that mark that he had on his hand in the previous chapter when he was playing with Mon, like he was throwing the ball, that's likely, you know, him getting the quirk possibly. So either All for One gave him the quirk via his, you know, his own quirk, or Yujiko, with the help of All for One, somehow synthetically created the Decay quirk. Because Yujiko in chapter 222 says that this is like a unique variant that we've never seen before. So it wasn't passed down from his family. So it could be some kind of, you know, synthetic quirk or something like that Yujiko and All for One worked together to create. And I guess somebody that was born quirkless, which we can assume, you know, in theory Tomura was originally, only somebody like that would be able to receive it, you know, besides becoming a Nomu and whatnot. I mean, this is just all theories and whatnot, but it kind of makes sense, you know. But other than that, yeah, just pretty brutal chapter, but this definitely fleshes out Tomura almost unlike any other character in the series. Like, Tomura easily has the most depth of almost anyone. So yeah, I mean, kudos to Horikoshi for making a very in-depth, great villain. After this arc, Tomura has shot up to being one of my favorite characters at this point. Like, I'm really liking him, and man, I feel for him, you know, because it's likely that all of this was, of course, orchestrated by All for One. So, wow, yeah. I just hope that the next chapter is going to continue the fight. You know, we just get out of all of this tragic backstory stuff and we just move along with this arc, because it was stated a few chapters back that we are headed towards the end. So, yeah, whenever that's going to wrap up, the sooner the better. Of course, I do want to see Gigantomachia take on 100% stress form, Redestro, and then whatever Tomura is going to do after that, likely gaining the respect of Gigantomachia. We still have 3 of the commanders left from the Liberation Army to deal with. We've got Getten still, we've got Hanabata, and we've got Skeptic. So, yeah, we still got their resolutions to go. So, we still got a lot of stuff, a lot of fun stuff to be had. And I just want to move on from this backstory. I hope it happens in the next chapter. If you liked it, guys, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. You can check that out, Q&A, whatever. Have a great day. I'll see you the next